Do not forget today. Keep it in mind because it serves as a classic reminder of what occurs when you choose to give up on mega capitalization equities, when you believe they are written off, and when you conclude they are finished. What takes place? They return with a bang. Yes, even though the market was down at one point, it crawled up 124 points to reach a record high. The Nasdaq was up 63% and the S&P was up 57%, both of which were record highs. As if by magic, the old favorites got back on their feet and started running again. I am aware of what they are. Dasher and Amazon, Dancer and Alphabet, Prancer and Microsoft, Vixen and Apple, Comet and Meta, Cupid and Tesla, and of course, poor Rudolph, the Nvidia reindeer, are the ones that most resemble Santa's reindeer. First, let's talk about Apple. Now, given that Google paid Apple a substantial sum of money to be the default search engine, this firm is being cited as the second largest loser in the Justice Department's case against Google. What's wrong with this? I don't know what this is. All right, Google is the greatest. I'm happy to have persuaded Apple, which had the option of selecting a subpar platform, but the Justice Department wants the agreement to be canceled. Since Google pays almost $20 billion annually for the privilege, it would be disastrous for Apple, at least in theory. Why then is the stock rising? Some of it is, in fact, the aftereffects of a study that was done yesterday. According to a positive statement from Morgan Stanley, iPhone upgrade rates are really rising, and the new Apple Intelligence may be having an impact. But what do you know? Additionally, I believe that Tim Cook, the CEO, may be the only American businessman to genuinely give China a terrific deal and receive one in return. Cook is currently in China at the same time that President-elect Donald Trump is discussing imposing a 10% tariff on Chinese imports. Since the China tariff could have been significantly higher, I actually believe Apple is up. You have to assume that things are a bit more cooperative than we initially believed if the opening bid is 10%. It's a compelling argument for the market as a whole, not just Apple. As long as the relationship with China doesn't get too much better. The Chinese have some incredible electric cars that are already subject to 100% tariffs here. Tesla will also benefit greatly if it can. Nevertheless, Elon Musk, the man who has Trump's ear, considers China to be a crucial market. Furthermore, the Chinese may view Trump's proposal to impose a 10% tax on China and a 25% duty on Canada and Mexico as a courtesy. Oh my, did I ever have the wrong idea about Canada, of course? It seems to be a hub for fentanyl smuggling and illegal immigration. Who would have guessed? Bank of America has given Amazon a nod. Right now, it's really generic. It discusses the advantages of internet advertising, cloud computing, and e-commerce. You could say, so what? Now, wow. But consider this. How many businesses would be thrilled to receive such an unexpected nod? But they hardly ever receive them. These businesses do. This morning, Microsoft and the Big G are a little complicated. Following the release of a poor set of financial results, Best Buy's ailing trust held firm. Fortunately, in response, we have been selling a lot of it before the quarter. We sold the profits from Lowe's and Home Depot, so we had to do it. Although it hasn't really taken off, CEO Corey Barry stated that the AI PC was one of the quarter's highlights. Given that home computers are increasing at a rate of 5.2% and laptops are increasing by 7%, I assume that some of them must be AI. Barry clarified that the benefits were driven by renovations and replacements. According to her, we're excited about what's going to happen in the future with AI. To be honest, I thought this was a mild endorsement, damning with faint praise, if you will. However, it's important to realize that victors are given the benefit of the doubt, and Best Buy's alleged AI PC figures can be interpreted as a hearty round of applause for Microsoft's deputy pilot. I hope so. Probably a plausible explanation for today's meteoric rise in Meta platforms. Indeed, there are some vaguely optimistic remarks regarding the success of Meta's smart glasses in China. They're awesome. I understand. However, it's rather generic. It may be rising as a result of the several magnificent 7 ETFs supporting it. That's how it is, you know, one for one and all for one. They all rise. I prefer stocks that have the potential to rise sharply on nothing. But I also have no illusions that they will fall sharply. However, consider it this way. A company's massive buyback on the way down is meant to help cushion the impact, and there isn't much supply on the way up. I refer to that as an unbalanced positive. Then there is Nvidia, the magnificent Seven's Rudolph red-nosed reindeer. In a classic post-earnings slump, Nvidia's stock is underperforming. We just seen the data, and we know that everything is fine. They were excellent. However, there is a rising pessimism that the market is becoming less competitive, that the rate of development is slowing, that things have peaked, and that Amazon is the main source of competition. We hear this every time, of course. Although I'm not sure who packed them, I want to examine these alleged drawbacks. First off, Amazon will not compete with Nvidia in the high-end semiconductor market. All it needs is a steady supply of other chips. Due to a scarcity caused by Nvidia's inability to find adequate production capacity to meet demand, Amazon produces some of them in-house. However, it's important that Nvidia embraces competition, if you can call it that. I prefer not to. The deal is this. Okay, in my opinion, Nvidia still has the finest technology. It has no rivals. Amazon is still a huge and, from what I've heard, satisfied customer. Then, has AI reached its zenith? This is extremely difficult for me. I believe that many people are unaware that Nvidia is releasing software as part of its stack. The advantages they possess. People probably aren't aware that they have software. And that leads me to Fugato. We learned this morning about a project that, like CH and Orion's work with Adobe, combines noises and stimulates creativity. They post ideas to provoke thought and to inspire others. According to the amazing Deja Osa of CNBC, Fugato is one of Nvidia's moonshots. It is a product of AI Idea Factory. Even though we can't play with it, it's not a retail product. What matters is that CEO Jensen Huang occasionally releases concepts that end up becoming really large, such as his DGX operating system, which was inspired by Nvidia Shield and includes a Shield TV. It's a little difficult to explain, as usual, but Jensen released Fugato to get people thinking, and nothing more. A lot of Nvidia is just a big thing. The kind of thing that well-run businesses use to do all the time. However, they are no longer completed if they are pricey. To be honest, I adore these types of assessments. The fit has no bearing on them. Regardless of the potential excess from China, they have nothing to do with cleaning the beige book. I really enjoy the standard blocking and tackling that these companies continue to provide. In summary, don't be upset with the mega caps. Don't hold that against them. Avoid impersonating them. Avoid attacking them at all. Simply purchase them. Today, Nvidia unveiled Fugato, a new AI music generator that can produce completely original sounds. Although the program won't be made available to the general public, Nvidia hopes that the demonstration will encourage users to push the boundaries of AI. Today's Tech Check features more from our beloved Bosa. Bosa, tell us about this. Alright Sarah, let me start by stating that AI-generated audio is nothing new. However, Fugato is a step forward in producing sounds that have never been heard before. This is an illustration from the Nvidia demo. This is dogs playing electronic music, while a saxophone howls and barks. Music, to believe it, you must hear it. Nvidia does not currently have intentions to make this tool broadly accessible, and it is not exactly regarded as a consumer product firm. This isn't the point, though. In its own moonshot factory, Nvidia has a long history of producing goods. This is intended to motivate its clientele, develop new goods, or advance its own technology, such as its Android-based Shield in 2013. This was a hybrid portable gaming system. Although it was a specialized device, it contributed to the development of later mainstream consoles, like as the Nintendo Switch, which is a hybrid system that makes use of Nvidia Tegra processors. For AI workloads, Nvidia's DGX is a supercomputer in a box. It was developed using some of the lessons learned from a Shield streaming box. Shield, another component of this initiative, would familiarize Nvidia with supply chain management and hardware-software integration, two aspects that have been extremely important to Nvidia in the modern era. In a recent podcast, Jensen Huang discussed this with ARM CEO Rene H. They claimed that it was completely unclear at the time that this Shield product would find a market. It was my excuse to turn Nvidia into a systems company. Yes, and I'll get questions like, the DGX1 is the computer that changed everything. Well, how did that happen, you know? To put it simply, DGX1 is a huge shield. Naturally, DGX is now a vital component of the Nvidia ecosystem and essential to its leadership in AI. Jensen Huang personally brought the first one to OpenAI in 2016, by the way. Without changing the script's length or meaning, the grammatical errors have been corrected.